So for some time now, I have been trying my hardest. Let's move this back a little bit. So welcome to our first video. This is LA Flicks. I'm Andrew, and I'm going to be here to help you navigate this weird, complex system of the filmmaking industry. More specifically, the content creator industry. So you want to be a content creator, right? And maybe you're falling in love with all of the videos, all of the reviews, lens reviews, video reviews, short form video reviews, and maybe you're starting out with nothing. Maybe you don't have a camera. Maybe you have your phone and you're working every day trying to save your money to buy your first camera. And if you're in that position, I'm very excited to meet you because this is going to be the perfect channel for you specifically. If you're already a creator and you already have everything that you need to function fully, this channel can also be for you as well. And the reason why I'm trying to differentiate the two is because two are obviously very different goals. Two obviously have very different goals. One set wants to get all the gear, be a full-time creator, travel the world, and just leave your 9-to-5 and leave corporate life, which is the position I was in. And the second subset are people that already have the gear and are already full-time creators, and they're out there hustling. And I want to talk to both of you guys. So I have done both. Obviously, I have. Well, not obviously, because you guys haven't seen me, or this is my first video, right? But I have been doing both. And on this side of the fence, when I had the 9-to-5 and I was saving for the gear, it was really hard for me to get the gear that I wanted because of all of the reviews that I was listening to. And what I'm going to be saying is stop listening to the reviews. You only really need a specific subset of items, and they can be a Canon T7i or a Rebel Canon T7 with a kit lens. And if you're doing photos, honestly, if you're doing video nowadays, you're gonna need a A7 III at the minimum. I'm a Sony guy, so I'm not really familiar with the Canon's ecosystem of cameras or the Nikon ecosystem of cameras. But if you're going to be doing video or photos for businesses, the A7 III for sure is going to be the minimum camera that you're going to want to get. But also, you don't need the A7 III in order to be able to turn yourself into a full-time content creator. And that's something I'm going to talk about in the future. So this is why I'm saying don't get hooked on all of the reviews and don't get stuck on trying to figure out what you want to buy, because it's not about the gear. It's about how you use the gear. So if you have no money and you have a phone, that's already enough to get you to that content creator point. It's going to be tough because when you have this guy coming in with all of the gear and all the cameras and all the lighting, obviously they're going to outshine you. So there's two different levels that you're going to be playing at, and you just have to understand that if you have nothing, you have to get familiar with that level and be intentional and also be creative with the type of content you create with your phone, because most businesses organically are doing way more reach compared to businesses that are having high-end camera production or high-end value. The reason why they're doing so well sometimes is because they're running a lot of money on those ads. They're creating content and they're running money on the ads. So it's not organic growth. And a lot of my clients are searching for organic growth. And for the person that doesn't have a camera, sometimes that can be a better suit for you. So again, I'm going to teach you all these things because this is something that I want to do moving forward now that I have finally stepped out of the gig hustle side of this business. I want to be able to help build my business. And the reason why is because I was that creator that had everything, and I still kind of do have a lot of equipment that'll help me get to where I want to get to. But I started saying no a lot more times. And that's kind of where I'm going to be going towards on this vent. You can call it an event, but the idea for this video is to be able to help you understand and navigate the film industry in 2026. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. So let me take a quick pause, 1 sec. So I'm gonna go back to my notes here, and I've written a lot, because this is, I guess, one of the big reasons why I haven't done YouTube is because I'm not really that great in front of the camera, even though I really do think I know that I am. I'm just trying to break the barrier, and also time is it's a lot. Also, I don't want to edit these, but now I have an editor, so it's going to be a little easier for me to create these type of videos. But I've written down a full list to help you navigate what it's going to take to be a filmmaker in 2026, what you want to avoid, what you want to go towards. And obviously you don't have to listen to me. You can do the things I tell you not to do because they are fun. But if you listen a little more carefully and you kind of set yourself up towards these goals, you will start making way more money than I have made in my gig career combined. I don't want to say combined, but you'll make a lot more money a lot faster if you don't listen to the gig work, the hustle and bustle of just $500 gigs, $200 gigs, $1,000 gigs, etc., etc. I'm going to teach you a system on how to be able to make yourself more foundationally safe while you leave your 9 to 5. Cool. So let's start navigating the filmmaking industry, right? 2026. So one of the biggest things that I learned, or a lot of the mistakes that I guess I have made in the film industry as a content creator in 2025, is saying yes to so many opportunities. I have gotten tons of opportunities. I've filmed for like hundreds of DJs. I've gone on tour a few times. I've done like live venues. New York, Brooklyn, Palm Springs, California, wherever, Arizona, you name it. I've been to majority of the music festivals and I absolutely loved it. And at the same time, I was having a lot of daytime gigs. So it was really hard for me to say no to things because I obviously want to be able to make a lot of money as a filmmaker. That's how you survive, right? You got gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs. But the problem is the more gigs that you have, the more broke you're going to be. And I know that's weird to say, but the more times you say yes to things, it's actually hurting your growth. And that does sound weird, right? It sounds like it's very, we're going towards the opposite direction of our goals. But and the reality is, the more you say yes to things, the more gigs you're going to get, but also the more opportunities that you're going to go past. And it sounds a little weird to say it like that. So let me phrase it this way. So a lot of the gigs that you're going to be getting as a first-time creator, because let's say you just stepped out of this side of the field, now you have a camera, right? You picked up an A7 III or A7 IV, and now you have the opportunity to take gigs. So what kind of gigs are you going to be taking? Let's write this down, right? We're going to be taking events. I already got it right. I got it written down. Maybe you'd like to write it down too. So you'll be taking events. You'll be taking nightlife events, shooting for restaurants, photography, right? Portraits, businesses, videos for businesses. Businesses always need video. Video for clinics, medical spas. They need content. Videos for your friend, shooting a music video, $200 a pop. Might want to do that. So just have a long list of opportunity that we're getting because you're new to the block. You want to be able to show the world the type of work that you can do. So you're saying yes to everything. Nothing wrong with that. You got to get experience. The problem is that if you keep doing it and you keep doing it, you're going to be stuck at that level where you are going to be only getting, let's say, $300 a video. Really, really low. Right. When I first started out, I was doing photos at a nightclub for $75 for 2 hours. I asked them for $100. They got me down to $75. I don't know why I said yes. I said yes because I needed the money really badly, and I stuck with it for about 2 years. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. Going home at like 2, leaving to go home at like 2 in the morning, driving 45 minutes out to the middle of Bumfuck, Virginia, just to be able to go back to my house and then get to work at 9 a.m. It's tough. It's a lot of work. So if you're in that 9 to 5, don't do what I did. I'm going to tell you how to do it. So yeah, you're first starting out, and then you're taking as many gigs as possible, and you're trying to get your footing in your career and trying to understand where you want to go as a creator. So the problem with doing so much is that you overload yourself so fast. Not just overload, but you kind of burn yourself out, and you get a little tired of doing the same thing, and then mentally you're a little, maybe I'm reflecting of how I felt, but mentally I was just drained, right? Luckily I have like a strong people skill, so I'm able to communicate clearly and, joyfully, and make the vibe feel strong with a lot of people that I meet. Hopefully you have that, but if you don't have that and you're burned out, it's a little harder for you to be able to communicate clearly. So you might end up hurting some of your names or hurting some of your brands or your clients, because things are turned in properly, things are turned in on time. We're missing a couple of things because you forgot your charger, you forgot your battery at your other gig, you got etc etc etc. So when you're first starting out as a content creator, make sure that you say no a little more often. And the reason why is because you want to give yourself space to grow. You don't want to pile things on, because you're going to create a habit of just piling work on top of yourself for 3, 4, 5 years. So if you go 3, 4, 5 years without being able to understand how to grow your brand, then you're just working nonstop, and then you're just spending your money because you got it coming in all the time. So my advice to first time creators when you're starting out is take your time. Start building systems. Start building these systems to intake your customers. Start building these systems to send out automatic leads. Start sending leads, automatic invoicing. Start building a system to generate leads. Start these systems before you go ham on saying yes to everything, because you'll be able to organize everything a little better, more better. You'll be able to organize things better. Now, if you're already a content creator and you already know that you're taking all the gigs, you already know that you're doing a lot of work, and you might feel a little stressed out. What kind of gear should I buy to make myself more money? Should I buy this camera because it's new and it's going to make my work look nicer? I have some news for you. Not everybody cares about the cinema camera, right? I'm shooting this right now with the FX6. This is probably the most action it's gotten in like 4 or 5 months. And I've been using my A7 IV and my A7S III. And we have been doing around $25,000 to $30,000 a month with our production company. And I've just been sticking with these cameras, A7 IV, A7S III, some Amaran lights, 200Xs, right? I'm using a aperture 1200D right now, and on a Manfrotto Lowboy with like my FX6 all rigged out. And this is probably the most action that my gear has gotten in months, because I've simplified the way that our systems work. I've made it easier for my team to be able to carry less things, and made it better for them on set to do more. So these systems are really going to help you in the future, and they're really going to help your clients in the future gain more traction, get more money, create new leads, because you're not really supposed to focus so hard on the cinematic aspect of your work. Yes, that sucks to say, and the reality is that everybody is going for that cinematic flow. Everybody is. So everybody is going for that cinematic picture and that image. Not a lot of people are going for ads, content for businesses, right? Businesses are gonna care that it looks nice. If you put so much effort in creating something that's cinematic, you obviously need a big team to make that work. Or you do it on yourself, it's gonna look good. But when you're doing it by yourself, you're so entrenched in like what you're gonna need to get done. How are you gonna edit it? Oh my God, this needs to look perfect. The client doesn't really care about that. They want that video to sell or create leads. They want that video to attract people to book services for them, right? So don't get so deep on how your image looks unless you're doing short form cinematic content. I have nothing to say for people that do that, because obviously that's what I love to do too. So I have no shame at all. Crush it. But if you're trying to grow as a content creator in 2026, you have to get it out of your mind of being able to create a cinematic image, have a $2,000 Artless lens, and 1.8 lenses. You don't necessarily need it. You can get a 4.0 lens, $25,000 to 24 to 105 Sony lens for like $600 with A7 Safe 7 III, so you can spend less than $2,000 or a little over $2,000 to get a system, and then that system can make you much more money quicker than if you were going to spend $2,000 on a lens and $3,000 on a camera. So there's these nuances that you have to understand when you're getting into the filmmaking industry. And if you're already in the filmmaking industry, you have to understand that all of these toys are not going to make you money unless you're delivering something for your client. So those are my mistakes, right? My mistakes were just piling on so much work to the point where I wasn't able to understand how to fully grow my business. And then when I started saying no, when I quit the music industry and I started having more sleep and, being able to walk my dogs in the morning, then I started to feel now I started to think, okay, what do I want to do with my life? Like, what do I want to take this business? As a content creator right now that's hustling your ass off, do you have 3 times a week where you can spend an hour, 2 hours just planning your future? If you don't have that time, I really think that you should take it slow down, and then start saying no to a couple of gigs, because your future is important. And you are just a wave. You're just a pulse of content creators that are coming into the industry, getting out of the industry, coming out of the industry, getting out of the industry. And you know who taps into that pulse? The music industry, the hospitality industry, the event industry, nightlife industry. They tap into that pulse, and they look for creators that are going to just say yes at the lowest rate, no matter what. I can't go back with my experience that I have now and say, hey, I want to charge $500 a night at a club, right? They're going to laugh. They're going to say no. Like, we charge our videographer, we pay our videographer $250, $300 a night. And that's cool. That works for them. The reason why it works for them is because they just want to make as much money as they can. And they're okay with whatever video, because like they're not specifically running ads. Like, they're not going to be like, it's more about the hype, right? So the hype, the more hype your video is, the more they'll pay you, or the more consistently they'll pay you. So they'll either pay you the same rate, or they'll bump you up $100, but you're going to stay there for years because they're paying you the most. You're going to make their video as hype as you can, but they're not going to go any more higher than that. So you're losing a lot of the nights of sleep. So just don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid to say no. When you're saying no, you have the ability to grow more because you're at home and you're trying to figure out how to make more money by doing things differently from the things that you've learned. So that was my mistake. It's just piling it on. And as a content creator now, understand that you don't need the top-notch equipment in order to make you more valuable. Your brain and your ideas are a couple of the things that are going to make you the most money, because you need time to think. You need time to come up with scripts. You need time to be able to expand on your ideas or expand on your content. And nowadays with AI, which we'll talk about in this channel, there are so many ways to be able to do these things automatically. For example, let's just use this as an example. When you're a content creator, right? You're on this side of the field, you're a content creator. You go out to shoot a Lamborghini event. You have 4 interviews in the event. You have B-roll, you have photos. And when you go home after your event, you have to sit on your computer and you have to create folders for everything, right? Unless you're a slob and you just throw everything into one folder and then you just figure it out later. If you do, cool. I would go against that. But you are clearly a content creator. You know what you're doing. So you're going home and then you're creating folders. And then you have all these folders to be able to keep everything organized. And then it takes time. It takes time to create those folders, and you have to keep them organized. I don't know where you put them. I specifically put them on Monday.com. Monday.com has been a lifesaver for my business. I'll talk about it later. But here's an example. With AI, you don't have to go home and create these folders all individually. You can just use your AI, send your video name to the Slack channel. The automated AI system is going to create the folders for you in Google Drive per video, per folder, and it can link it to your Monday.com server or your desktop or workspace board. There's so many methods to use in the AI space that'll generate so much time for you to just sit down and think. So this year, for entrepreneurs, content creators is going to be one of the best years, especially while utilizing tools like AI. And I can't wait to go over that stuff because it's going to be a lot. So let's go over our next one. I got successes on my next key point here. So let's go over some of the successes as a filmmaker. So let me make sure that we're still good. One of the most successful things that I think you can do as a content creator and as a filmmaker is be able to turn in work that you're extremely proud of. It was hard for me last year because the reason why I'm actually creating this channel is because I went back home for the holidays, and my aunt, who I love so much, shout out to my aunt Darlene, I love you, I love my Tio Carlos, I love you guys, and obviously my cousins and my family. But my aunt was just looking at me, and I've done a lot. I've done a lot of videos. I've done a lot of concerts and events, and Slipknot, Jonas Brothers, just cool shit. I love it. And I was sitting on the sofa, and then she just looks at me, and she's like, well, "So what videos are you most proud of?" And I really couldn't pinpoint it at all. It was funny. I thought it was just so funny because you do so much, and you're proud of it when you turn it in. You're like, yeah, that looks sick. But because the industry is so fast paced, in the music industry and the event industry, you never really get to appreciate your work as much, because when you turn that in, it gets posted, if it gets approved, within 30 minutes, and then that's it. And then you're on to the next day where you have another event that you have to cover, and you're more focused on that. So it's not that I wasn't really proud of anything, it's just that I wasn't able to say that I was proud of something. So that kind of took me aback a little bit, and it made me realize that I don't want to create things that I can't be proud of. And obviously, again, it's weird. It's a weird feeling, but I'm sure one day you'll feel it once you know that you're absolutely proud of something. And I am proud of a lot of videos that I've created. I'm proud of a lot of work that we've done as a team. I'm very proud of a lot of content that we do on a regular basis. But I think the most busiest time of the year, not being able to say what I was proud of was probably one of the biggest wake up moments of my life. So actually, I don't think it was last year. It was the 2025. It was 2024. So it was Christmas 2024. So on January 2025, I ended up, telling everybody that I'm just retiring from the music industry. I'm retiring from nightlife, stuff like that. I just can't do it no more. I want to be able to think and build my production company to be able to succeed in the real world. I don't want to be part of a pulse that just keeps getting tapped into, and then you keep getting pushed out of the market. So in 2025, one of our biggest successes was being able to create retainers, and was being able to lock in referrals from our retainers, and being able to create systems to create content for our clients that we keep on a retainer basis. And the biggest success is being able to break through $15,000 a month to $30,000 a month. So obviously that's gross income. We have a lot of people on our team that we have to pay. We have editors, graphic designers. It's a system, right? Because we build systems. So one of the biggest successes of 2025 for us was being able to build these systems to have more success. And if you stick around on this channel, I will go through each of them one by one. So I'm not gonna be doing a lot of reviews of things. I'm not gonna be doing lens reviews, camera reviews. If you want some of that stuff, you're probably gonna have to go to different channels. It's gonna be rare for me to do things like that. And the reason why is because I don't want to what's the right word? Enable. I don't want to enable this buying round and round thing that we got going on. Obviously there's things in the camera industry that are going to make your everything look good, but if you're a solo creator, you don't need to be buying and buying and buying and buying. You just need to build and build. How is this going to make me money? How is it going to make me money? Not buy it because your images are going to look good, just look good. How is this going to pay me back? How am I going to get money back from this? Is what you got to start thinking about. Instead of thinking about, oh my God, this is going to look good on Instagram. This video is going to look sick because of this lens. Nobody cares your videos look sick. They don't. If you want to make money, you got to give something back to your clients, which is a return on investment. So start thinking in that direction instead of thinking about how cinematic it's going to look. Kind of got to hardwire your brain a little bit. So on this channel, we're definitely not going to be doing a lot of reviews, but we're going to be going over a lot of systems to help content creators achieve the success that they're trying to achieve. So in 2025, I was definitely more successful because I had more time to think, more time to build systems, and more time to just, to do the things I wanted to do, and more time to walk my dogs and be outside. I think still kind of battling with that, but we're going to make it happen more often this year. That is the goal. So let's see what else we got here. The industry. I went over the industry a little bit. Let's just tap back into the industry, because if you're a new content creator, you kind of have to understand what this industry is about. And I went over it a little bit, like with nightclubs and stuff and hospitality. They're just going to tap into the pulse, and they're going to just choose who's cheaper. Majority of the time, if your work is solid, they're going to stick with you. They're always going to stick with you. And that's one good thing about the industry, is that if you're a great content creator and if you do well for a lot of businesses, they're going to keep you for a long time. That's how we are now with a lot of our plastic surgeon clients. We have had one client for almost over 3 years now. So we've been with him for 3 years on a retainer, because I believe we do good work for him, and then he gets a lot of leads. He gets a lot of people calling, gets a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, I found you on YouTube, I found you on Instagram," and that's what I'm more proud of, is being able to make changes in people's lives by using the content that I film, rather than more of a vain or cosmetic happiness with my video being super cinematic and sexy. Like, it's cool, but what is it doing for people? I want my content to reach out and help people. So in the industry, you have to understand that when you're getting in, there's so many of us now. I live on the East Coast, thankfully. So in California, I can't even imagine how saturated it is over here. I think I was able to do a lot more here because I'm like a creative type from California with the camera. So for me, I had that hustle, I had that grind, and I had that creativity to be able to do what I did. But if you're coming into this industry, just know that you have to do good and right by everybody. And it's unforgiving. It never ends. People want stuff all the time. So just make sure that you know how to say no and you know when to say yes. Now, being a filmmaker in 2026, so let's talk about systems, right? So these are, you might want to write this down. These are some of the systems that I highly recommend if you're going to be a filmmaker, or if you already are a filmmaker. If you are a filmmaker already and you don't have these systems, I highly recommend writing this down, because these systems are going to make you so much money if you actually implement them. If you don't implement them and you keep doing what you're doing and just taking gigs and blah, 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 you're not going to get anywhere. These gigs are keeping you broke. So you have to make sure that you have systems in place in order to be able to capture leads and invoicing and blah, 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 blah. So let's go over these systems, right? So you're a filmmaker. If you're a filmmaker, I'm sure you have like a system to take invoices. If you don't, make sure you have a system that or your clients can pay your invoices with their credit cards without sending a PDF. I get PDFs from so many filmmakers sometimes. It's kind of embarrassing. If you don't have a way for people to pay you for their credit cards or business credit cards, and you're sending them a PDF file, come on, dude. Like, wait, you gotta get it together here. So you're being able to have a system to take payment. That's like the very first one. Take payment. Have a system to keep your content organized. I'm gonna write this down here with you, right? So you're gonna need a payment system. Cool. We're gonna write that down, and then you're gonna need a organizational system, maybe a CRM. You can do Monday.com. I'm just gonna scribble here, so then that way I'll give you some time to write it down. Monday.com. You can use Asana. You can use Go High Level. There's so many systems out there for you to keep things organized. Start with one. Do a free trial. Maybe you don't have like a solid client yet. You're just still trying to get into the industry, right? There's two ways you can do this. You're in the industry. You're trying to get into the industry. You can create a CRM for yourself. Do John Doe production company, right? And then categorize it by the name of the video that you're doing, the platform you're doing it for, which platform is it, social media, YouTube, etc. You know, figure that out. What day you're going to post it, where's it stored, where's the file section, where's the Google Drive folder, the Dropbox folder, whatever you're going to use. Do it for yourself. John Doe Production. Do it for yourself before you even buy a camera. That's going to be one of the biggest, it's huge. That's huge. It's big brain. So when you have that system in place under John Doe Production, you already know how to create videos for yourself in a more manageable and professional way. So when you introduce yourself to a client, you already know how to create the system for them, right? And if you're a filmmaker already, then you need to be able to make sure that you have these systems. You probably do already. If you're a pro, you have the systems already. If you're not, you got to rewind and get into this first, because this is how you keep things organized. This is how you keep your clients happy. So we have our invoicing system, our CRM system to be able to keep everything organized. And then you're going to need your Google Drive or your Dropbox folders. So you need a team plan for that. Make sure you got that to keep everything safe and organized. And then you need SSDs. You need SSDs to, I'll keep it out of the systems portion, but just a reminder, you need more SSDs. So we have our invoicing system, we have our CRM to take care of our clients, we have our storage system, and let's think about another system that we need. So we have our payment system, we have our Monday system, we have our Google Drive, our Dropbox system. So then now you need, in this day and age, you need ChatGPT, right? You need a workspace. So get the ChatGPT workspace, start with the free one or whatever, the $50 one. We pay like $250 a month for our ChatGPT service. The reason why we do that is because we have a workspace per client, and each client's workspace has a deep research pattern to be able to lock into their website and lock into anything that they've produced on digital media or on the web, so we can understand who our clients are. And that's very important to have. I'll go into more details on that on a separate video, so then that way we can fully understand how we track this information. Separate video. The first one, I'm not going to go that deep. So we have our invoicing, CRM, our storage, our ChatGPT system. These these four systems alone are going to be able to make you so much money, because you are more organized, you're an entrepreneur, you are a professional. So you keep these systems in mind, okay? Save this video, whatever, like it, so that way it's, stored, I guess. So you have something to go back to, 3 or 4 systems. So the last thing I have here is bail. So the last point that I had here was bail. I'm not sure why I put it down, but I think subconsciously I know, but I don't. So I'm just going to go with it. We're going to go with this last one that I put bail. And I think if I can pull some things out of the hat here in my butt, I'm going to just say that get ready to bail when you feel like you are being undervalued or you feel like you deserve more. This is how businesses work, right? And it's nothing wrong with the businesses. It's just the way businesses work. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to work that way once, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to be that way when I have enough staff working for us or something working for us. If something is working for you very well, you want to keep that as long as possible, right? So the problem is you want to keep that at the same rate, because if it's making you money and you're making more money over time, and you have this set fee of $400 or $500 that you're paying this person, why would you want to pay them more unless they threaten to leave? And if they're making you money, you're not going to let them go, right? Here's an extra $200, $500, $600, $700. You're going to pay $700 because I need to keep you around because you're making me money. Now, there's going to be a point in time where that $700 isn't enough for you anymore, because you're doing gigs that are $3,000 a pop, $5,000 a pop. So $700 is not anything to you anymore. So you have to remember that you're running a business. You are a business owner. You are coming from the bottom to the top. So on the way to the top, you're going to have to let go a couple things in order to get to the top. And it's going to feel kind of sleazebaggy because you're leaving people that helped you start off when you when you had nothing. And I'm just here to tell you that that's just the way the world works. So get ready to do a lot of that, because in order to grow, you have to be able to start saying no to gigs that are going to only pay $700 for a day of your time. I won't even leave the house for like less than $1,000. And I think $1,000 is extremely cheap. And I just recently stopped taking gigs that are only $1,000. So that $1,000 mark is like on the very low end for me. I don't want to do anything unless it's like $2,000, $3,000. You'll get me out of the house for like $750, but it's not worth it, because sometimes that client that's paying $1,000, they are going to expect so much, because that $1,000 to them is a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money to them, so they want to make sure that they're going to get their money's worth. They're going to want to make sure that this works for them. They want to make sure they got support. You're going to be there for them throughout the whole process. So at a certain point, when you don't have the time to be with them for the whole step-by-step process, because you have a client that's paying you $4,000 or $5,000 to be able to do simple things that mean a lot to them on the long term. This one client that's paying you $1,000, it means so much to them on the short term. So get ready to bail. Get ready to understand that you're a growing production company, and you need to be able to sustain and retain those clients that are paying you 4 or 5 times more than that client that's paying you $1,000. So I'm getting towards the end of my video here. I'm just happy that you guys are here, and if you've listened all the way, might as well just save this video for later. If you need any help navigating anything, this video I think was a little educational. So if you like it, it'll save it. You can watch it later, and that's pretty much it. Welcome to my channel. I'm excited to see where this goes, and stick around for the next video, because we got some great educational content coming our way, and I'll try to keep it simple. That way, you guys can follow along. So peace out.